Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to be reviewing the Ninja Juicer. This amazing machine can take leafy greens and turn them into juice. So today we're going to be taking these greens and this pomegranate, and at the bottom here we have ginger, and we're going to be making the healthiest, most delicious juice you have ever had. Hello, dear viewers. Today we're having a look and reviewing the Ninja Juice Presser. This is an amazing machine that will improve your quality of life. It will improve your juices that you drink as a family, and it will improve your health. Let me show you how to take it apart. So it's made out of several pieces. I use the largest filter. You can see with time, it does wear out from the inside. So this is something that you have to keep in mind with this model. And the same thing with this part right here. I can also see a little bit of wear. Look at that, even plastic coming off a little bit. So this is an older model. If you're living in the States, you can get the version 2, which I highly recommend. But all in all, this juicer has been an incredible addition to the family. It juices everything that is not overly hard. So what it doesn't perform well is it doesn't do beets very well. It doesn't do carrots very well. It doesn't do oranges, any kind of citrus fruit very well. But what it does incredibly well is greens. So what you have to do is cut them up a little bit so that they're easier for the machine to process. And with my experience, and I'll show you guys this at the end, the green part comes out a little bit soggy, so it's going to come out on this part here. And we are going to run it through another time, a second time, and that saves us from having to squeeze it out. Here we have some ginger and we have pomegranate, and we're going to put that in through first. It comes out very, very dry, the pomegranate. This machine does a wonderful job at making pomegranate juice. You just want to feed it just a little bit at a time. Just let it run down your hand. It has a little valve over here that you can close. And you can see the juice comes out real beautiful, real nice. If you use a smaller, there's 3 filters that you can put on. That's the orange part. I have the biggest one. I don't mind eating pulp. In fact, I want to eat it with pulp. But you can set it to strain very finely and you'll have much better juice. So yeah, as you can see, we just had this this part come out right here, and it's very, very dry. Very, very, very dry. So I'm very happy with that. So like I said, it doesn't do things very well like beets, carrots, celery, but it does amazingly for anything that is soft and wet. I want to leave the ginger for last. It is hard, but if you cut it up into small pieces like this, the machine does a really good job of dealing with it. Much better than carrots or pineapple. Actually, pineapple is another one that it does fairly poorly. The pineapple gets clogged at the bottom filter. So I've had this machine for about 2 years, and it hasn't let me down. The beautiful thing about it is that you don't need to clean it several times like you would with this machine. I don't know if you guys can see that over there. Just a regular juicer like this, I would have to take it apart several times while I'm making enough juice for 2 or 3 people. but the Ninja juicer really is fantastic. Okay, next we're gonna start adding the greens. And it comes like with this little pusher. You can use it to push down the... You also want to give it just a little bit. You don't want to overload the bearing inside. And it's making those noises just because of the texture. The leafy greens, once you juice them or once the juice comes out, it becomes very, how do you call it? Like it's not a very good lubricant. And so what I'm using here is dill and parsley, and they're one of the most anti-carcinogenic greens out there. So this is really a great addition to any kind of health routine that you may be on. But as you can hear, it does squeak quite loudly. You don't want to overload the tube. Make sure you're stuffing things in with a little bit of space in between. So that was 2 pomegranates, about 2 fingers worth of ginger, and I don't know, a handful of greens. You can see how much juice is in there. This will be good enough for 2 to 3 people. It's like having real vitamins in the morning. I don't recommend buying any other kind of chemical vitamins. It's just not worth it. Do you really think your body is made to process chemically engineered vitamins and that that's good for you? Without a doubt, this is good for you though. I mean, eating that much greens would have been difficult in a salad or just at one sitting, but drinking it is no problem. Here comes the ginger. This much ginger is probably going to be really spicy, but I've gotten used to it, and you will too. This version does kind of get clogged a little bit, and like I said, we're going to pass this through a second time. If you pay attention here, there will be more drops. In fact, you know what? I'm going to pause it right here, and I'm going to take off this part because I know it gets clogged, and I do want to have it live a long time with me, and I also want to get this stuff out before I throw it for a second time. Perfect. Again, we don't want to overload it. We don't want to be eating pieces of plastic or drinking pieces of plastic. So little by little. Yeah, and I can see there's a lot of drops dripping down just from that little piece. So the greens need to be taken through a second time for sure. It sounds like it's having difficulty. I don't know if you can tell by the sound. It sounds like putting it through a second time kind of stresses it. But I imagine not overly too much. So I just wanted to show you, even after a second time, it's really wet. I can see and I can tell. So just like, oh man, there's quite a lot. So it is having difficulty getting out every single little bit. And that's why I wanted to make this review, so you guys are aware of what it actually does, of its strengths and weaknesses. So I'm going to close the valve right now and show you what we have. Look at this amazing layered drink. I like to mix it while it's still in there. It turns kind of a brown color. I guess green and red makes brown. I'm going to pour it in here like so. I'm going to leave a little bit of space at the top, and we're going to add water. Now, the reason why we do this is because if you're drinking juices first thing in the morning, that overload of sugar, that overload of these very harsh plants could cause indigestion for some people, including myself. So I found that when I add the water, it's a little bit easier for my body to absorb. And that's exactly what we're looking for. We want your body to absorb as much of this healthy goodness as possible. It's spicy. Whoa. Excuse me. So look at how beautiful it looks. It smells like flowers. It smells like a sunny summer day in an open field. Oh, woo! That ginger can really be felt, but you can also see and taste the pomegranate. It's really quite amazing. Now, in terms of feeling, like if you down this, you really don't feel it. You don't feel like an energy boost like you would with a cup of coffee. But I think that's okay. Not everything needs to be like an addictive boosting type thing. But what this does do is it really improves your immune system. So if you're feeling like you have a cold, if you're feeling a little bit low on energy and just bad in general, this really helps. And it also helps you clean up after a long night of maybe eating or partying. If you're into that sort of thing, having this machine at home really simplifies. So it's dripping through the valve, I can see right now. But having this machine really simplifies getting your vitamins and minerals that you really need. Even despite the plastic being chipped off a little bit, and despite it not being able to process things like pineapple, oranges, grapefruit, bananas, obviously bananas, excuse me, but I find it to be very worthwhile. It was a massive investment. It's quite expensive, but worth every penny, worth every penny. And like I said, if you live in a developed economy, you could probably get the newer version. And I believe they got rid of some of the faults that were in version number 1, which this is. Cheers, guys, to your health. Another important aspect of this machine is how easy it is to clean it. Now you can use this right here as a scrub, as a facial scrub. Let me show you. This is all the vitamins and minerals you will ever need for your face. The results are quite amazing. At least I find them to be amazing. Healthiness, wealthiness, and youngness, youthfulness. Awesome. And with these things, what I would normally do from the pomegranate, I would eat it. Oh. The reason for it is it gives you a light exfoliation from the inside, especially if you've been eating poorly. help you get rid of some of your toxins in your guts. Oh, that's enough for me. So I just want to showcase how easy it is to clean it. If you clean it right away after you finish juicing, the little parts come off super easily. I have this little brush here that'll help me get rid of some of the other things in here. So this is part 2 out of 5 that you basically just rinse. And from the residue that I can see, there's a little bit stuck here in this little tight space. But other than that, everything washes off pretty quickly and it doesn't stick around. As you can see, there's no like old parts of plant matter that get stuck there. So this is what it looks like inside after it's done. This is the little filter that it gets taken by. It gets filtered by. Throwing that in the garbage. You don't want to mess around with cooking for too long. Cooking takes way too long as it is already. And then this part I like to give it a little brush, just because here you can see the plant matter. You can see it lodge in the plastic. And here is a good example of how inside it looks. So you can see the plant matter get stuck in little crevices and the machine scraping it off a little bit. That's probably the biggest downside that I see in all of this. All in all, this construction is much easier to clean than this thing. The centrifugal blade is much harder to clean, taking it apart. This one just feels light and easy. I kind of rinse it, scrub a little bit where I need to, and it's done. And this is the last part. That's what it looked like in the middle. I like to be thorough and clean everywhere just so that my items last me longer. But it's actually pretty easy to just rinse it and it's good to go. You really want to let it dry all the way. You don't want to close it back up when it's still a little bit wet, as that will increase the growth of bacteria. And boom, that's it. Done. We have our healthy juice. We have everything cleaned. We're ready to go to work or continue on with our lives. So all in all, it took, because the pomegranate took about 15 to 20 minutes to take apart. All in all, I think it took about 40 minutes to get everything done. So yeah. Cheers. I hope you enjoyed this review, and I hope that if you decide on buying it, it serves you well. Good luck.